Greetings traders, this is Houston Trong from the tradingedge.org, and here is your weekly market outlook for June the 17th to 21st, 2019. So we have two more trading weeks left in the month of June, 2 trading weeks left in this quarter, and this week was kind of a slow week, to be honest. And usually what portends is that we have a slow week, then perhaps we have more fireworks for the coming week. So this coming week we do have the usual headline risk that's still out there, whatever Trump's going to say, whatever comes out of China. There's a lot of macro stuff happening now with the issues in Iran and affecting Iran attacking the tanker, supposedly oil tanker, and how it's affected oil prices. So a lot of things, a lot of geopolitical risk out there. We do have some economic news as well. Of course, on Wednesday there's the FOMC, so make sure you pay attention to that. Thursday is the jobless claims number, and Friday there's the PMI number and existing home sales right in the morning, as well as quadruple witching. So busy week ahead. We still have earnings. It is heavier in the latter part of the week, so make sure you're checking your earnings calendar so you don't get caught in any trades going into earnings. So let's get into the week that was and also talk about what we can expect for the coming week. Let's begin, as we always do, with the VIX product. So VIX now is, taking a step back here, it's outside, inside, and down on the 3-month chart, right? So outside, inside, and down 3-month chart. It broke back below last quarter's low, and now it's slowly melting again to the downside. So if we take a look at the actual VIX itself, you'll see we're back in the 15 back in the 15 area. So if we zoom out here for a second, we'll really zoom out. If we look at let's take a look at a weekly chart. If we really zoom out, and that's a little too far out, but back in 2017, early 2018, we had levels of really low volatility, right? So back here, I don't know if you can see the time scale. Let me just move this a bit so you can see that. Back in 2017, we had a low of here that was around 8.6. So we're double that now, close to double that, trading at 15.3. So nowhere we're not in the low volatility environment that we had back in 2017, 2018, but certainly we're no longer we're not at elevated levels, right? So we're back down to a comfortable range now where even though there's a lot of headline risks, to put things in perspective, we don't have the panic that we had again just a few months back, especially going into 2019. We had VIX way up here, in the 30s, right, in the 20s. So right now we're at these comfortable areas now. That simply means that traders are not, the broader investors are not really rushing out buying those puts and trying to hedge themselves. So just recognize the environment we're trading in. It's not a panic mode anymore. We're back into this season now where we're in the back half of June. The quarter's ending. We're getting close to summer, so expectations are becoming less and less that there's going to be any kind of meltdown or any kind of that's any kind of major risks to the market. So just recognize that, because the VIX is not signaling anything, right? So look at the VIX right now, inside month, because we had that big elevated month in May, and now we're sitting comfortably inside of last month's range. The week here is significant. Remember last week we talked about it in the video. Outside bar. So the question was, what's going to be the next bar? It's outside bar and down. Okay, so now what you want to see is you want to see continuation, because it's momentum down, and now does it keep going down, or does it pop back up and then go after this range here, go after this pivot high? I prefer that it go down, because then it's with the broader time frames, because now you have the quarterly open right there and the monthly high right there. So even if you pop up above here, you're going to get sandwiched here between the weekly open and these areas of resistance, and it's going to be hard for it to break above this area unless something major comes out. So you prefer now to see the VIX just melt, because now you don't want to get stuck in this area. You're going to have choppy trading. It could happen, but I would prefer to trade with full time frame alignment. Makes the trades easier. So that's what you expect from VIX right now is, just watch a continuation. Does it keep melting down, or does it pop back up, and then you expect this stuff to get into play and, to get into some headwinds. If it cracks above there, then, again, we're going after these pivots and that pivots. Okay. So on the daily time frame, it was a very tight week, as I already alluded to, and this is the kind of week it was. Take a look at the range, how tight that is here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You spend, half the week above the weekly open, and then the rest of the week, the latter half of the week below the weekly open, closing ultimately to the downside. So look at that sequence: outside bar, and inside it goes down, so inside bar and down. Not enough. This low here is not below that, so they could not, the sellers that day could not take out that low. On Friday they pop it up, right, but then they sell them right away and it melts all. It was kind of jagged, it was kind of choppy, but finally in the late afternoon it finally, they gave it up. The sellers finally came in and they basically melted the VIX. That finally took out that low. Low of here of Tuesday was 27.30. That low there 27.28, right? So any stops that were right, 1 or 2 ticks below this outside bar, which is why I always say it's a terrible place to put your stops, because they're going to come after you. So they took off those guys by 2 pennies and they stopped all those guys out. Now, if you look at that on a lower time frame basis, so just be note again on the daily chart. Remember, on the week we have outside bar and down. On the daily we have an outside bar now, right? So the same thing as last week. What's the next bar? And you want to see continuation now, otherwise it's going to pop back up. Outside, inside, or is it going to go outside and down, or outside and up? That's what we need to wait for. On the intraday chart, it was very tight this whole week. So here's the entire week. This is what it looks like, right? So very, very tight trading. So there, you have your, this is on the 10th. So you have that big outside bar. They break it down, comes back up again. Outside bar down. The sequence here, inside, outside, it pops it back up for Thursday. And then Friday, look, inside bar here, below all the bigger time frames. So this is the weekly open, quarterly, monthly. It breaks below there, they consolidate, and then finally they go outside bar down with momentum to the downside. And ultimately that creates a really, really tight week of trading that tricks a lot of traders, because you get these higher highs, right? So this high here, higher than that high there, and then you guessed it, that low here was lower than that low there. Slightly, right? Just by 2 pennies, remember? That was the low here was, what is it, 31, or 31 there. And this low here is 29. So yeah, 2 pennies. So it was that tight. So just create that megaphone formation where you have this low lower than that low, that high higher than that high, and it just chops everyone up. So very, very tight trading. Not a lot of fun if to be trading this stuff if you can help it, or you'd rather find stuff that's actually moving. That's how it was with the indices this week. So let's talk about the SPY now. And what kind of week it was. Very tight stuff. So SPY, just to give a broader picture, inside bar up, right? So that this signal still in play. Inside bar up on the monthly, outside and down. Now coming back up. So if this month, we gotta wait and see 2 more weeks before June ends. But there's this possibility in July, outside and down. They take out this high, they go back up to all-time highs again. That's a possibility. Here, weekly, we need to pay attention to this though. Okay, so this is the opposite of VIX, obviously. So you had this inside bar and down on the weekly, went outside bar up last week. This week, look at that. It only moved 0.5%. It was that tight of a range. Outside bar and up, right? So now you want to see momentum continue, ideally. So can the buyers continue to break it higher, or do they break below this and it comes back in again? There's your quarterly open. If it does come back in, look for that as an area of support, as a possible shorter term trade to bounce off of that. Okay, so on the daily, very, very tight stuff, right? So here it is. There's your week. They gap it up on Monday. It ends red. Outside, Tuesday was a news day, so they created outside day, outside and down. They cannot keep it down. It goes back up here, right? And it pops back up on Thursday. And Friday ended up as basically a doji, not a lot of participation. So this pattern here, now that you're above this high, if they continue to go up, let's say on Monday they take out this high, well, it's already above this high, they're going after that pivot. So that's the pivot that everyone's gunning for now, if they can continue to climb it up here. Okay, so that's the move there on the daily. On the 2-day chart, just watch, it's inside bar. So that's how tight it is, right? So these 2 bars are basically inside of this previous range. That's why it's an inside bar. So now you want to wait and see how this inside bar resolves, up or down. Right now, depending on how we open on Monday, it is full time from alignment to the upside, quarter up, monthly up, right? You're trading above the weekly open sometimes. So your bias is going to be mostly to the upside if you can stay above the weekly, and of course above the daily. So let's talk about Qs. Quiet week for the Qs too. Okay, so Qs, a bigger time frame chart. Boom. Outside, inside, and up on the 3-month chart. So looking strong for the Qs so far. If we can hold those levels. Outside bar down on the monthly. If we can crack again above here in July, you're going back up. But here's the same thing, right? This guy only gained 0.88% for the week, so very tight week. Outside bar up, same thing as a SPY. Full time from alignment to the upside now. So your bias needs to be to the upside. You know, can it keep going up? Looks like kind of a shooting star, right? So does it come back in again? If it does, how far back does it come back? So be on the lookout for that it can pull back in if the momentum runs out. But the bias is still to the upside, meaning you could easily pull back to a daily time frame like this of the quarterly open, which also coincides right now with the 8-period moving average. A lot of short-term traders look at that stuff, so you can easily pull back here and set up a buying opportunity to springboard higher. So look for potentially buy signals on that pullback. You want to be stopping people out on corrective action before you get back in again. Otherwise, you're just chasing momentum all the time, right? So you can either elect to chase momentum like this and keep buying these highs, or let it pull back a bit, let it find some support, corrective action, stop some people out, right? So here's a gap right here that's unfilled right there. Coincides again right there with the quarterly open and the 8 period. Purple line's the 50. So you have a lot of stuff here. If the sellers can rip right through, that's quite bearish, but I imagine there's going to be some buyers stepping in that area. But they're probably waiting to get filled down there. So on the 4-hour chart, just to talk about that one. All right. So you notice right there, there's your purple line, there's your weekly open. So the weekly open just basically acted as support for the Qs. It closed above the weekly open, that's why it's a green week. You can just see, right? So inside bar, as we talked about last week, how is it going to resolve? They gapped up in the morning, went up, inside bar went up, met with an outside bar on Tuesday, right? So Tuesday was the selling day, outside, inside, and down. They cannot break it down further. Weekly open acted as support. If you don't believe that the weeklies and the weekly opens and the monthly opens and quarterly opens act as a natural level of support and resistance, then you haven't looked at enough charts yet. But yes, you can see right there, it is acting as support right there. And then inside bar reversal, back to the upside again. Sellers get back in on Friday. They create a new low, right? So this low here is 181.95. That low there is 182. So there's your lower low, right? Higher high, lower low. So there's your very tight megaphone pattern once again. So very, very tight trading. But weekly open holds, and then they turn it green. So at this point here, again, just watch and see how the weekly trades. Does it keep going up, or do they pull it back in? Russell. Okay, so the Russell is one of the weaker ones. So back inside the inside bar on the quarterly chart. On the monthly, you got outside bar, inside bar. So this is setting up for something quite nice. I don't think it's going to change. We have 2 weeks left, but the way the Russell's moving, which is really tight, you're probably going to stay inside bar unless something very significant happens, because that's a big range, and you're right in the middle right now. So you're right in the middle of May. So how do you get outside of May, right? So remember, we like this because outside, inside, we want to see where it breaks in July. Okay, below the quarterly open right now. We don't have bias, so whichever way it breaks in July, it's going to be a very good tradable signal. On the weekly, it went inside bar and up, right? Inside bar and up, very little. Look, it's only gained less than 0.6% in the week. Quarterly open right there. So this guy here is still trading below the quarterly open, sitting in a very, very tight megaphone formation. Although, again, you're working your way back up this megaphone, possibly taking out this pivot high, the high of May. On the daily, there's your outside. So here we go. Okay, outside bar, inside, popped up. I was very surprised that the Russell could not take out the high of Tuesday. It came within literally maybe I think 5 cents. So here the high was 153.23. The high here was 153.18. So 5 cents away from that high. So now they pulled it back in on Friday. So if buyers can step back in, take out that high, they're going to take out that pivot high. That's going to be then the easy trade if they can get it back up there again. So on the 2-day chart on the Russell, that's how tight it was. 2 inside bars to end the week, right? So that's how tight the trading was. Now you're setting up for something more expansionary, right? So you had 4 days of compression, consolidation, contraction, or however you want to describe it, and then let's see which way it resolves. Right now, though, the only issue is that you're trading in a mixed time frame, which is why it's so choppy. So you have quarterly right there, and you have the monthly there. So right now, you're just doing this dance in between those two ranges because you're trading inside month. That's what it looks like when you trade inside month. You have this really choppy stuff, and that's what you can expect to see. Although it's not fun to trade, you can just create the right expectations when you have that understanding. Let's go to Dow. Okay, so Dow. Okay, let's talk 3-month chart. Dow. Oops, I put 3M in. Let's try that again. Okay, so Dow here. All right, back inside the outside inside pattern for the 3-month. Okay, green month so far on the Dow. Okay, outside and up. Okay, so we're trading back above full time frame alignment, but barely. It's having a really hard time holding that level, but it's still trading above that. So the bias is still to the long side on the Dow, outside and up. Now you just want to see, can it continue that, or does it break down and come back in? On the daily, outside inside pops up. Look at that weekly for the Dow. It acts as the weekly open is resistance, not support. Remember, the Qs it was support. For the Dow, it's actually banging into that open and cannot break it, which is why we have a red week. So outside, inside pops up. Now you do not want to see these lows get taken out, otherwise it's going to fall back into this bigger outside bar's range. That's basically the mother bar. So you really want to get out of here, see if you can take out that pivot high. But right now, really tight trading for the Dow. The Dow had a week, what was it, plus 0.47. Okay, so that's how tight of a week it was. Okay, so on the 2-day chart, I think we're looking at that right now. Inside and up. Okay, so very tight stuff. Inside bar and up, but cannot stay above the breakout point of this inside bar, so falls back below that weekly open. So now you just have to wait and see the weekly chart, right? Does it continue, or do we get this chop? How is it going to resolve? Let's talk about bonds. So bonds just continue to climb. Now, we talked about it already 2 weeks ago, that it was starting to do the Bollinger Band walk, right? So it had done the Bollinger Band walk. So let's just take a wider picture. So basically, red month right now on bonds, inside week on TLT, right? So it was choppy. It was very tight across everything. So a few weeks ago, we had that Bollinger Band walk. It ran out of momentum, right? So outside bar up. Once that low gets taken out, that's confirmed to back down again. They find support at this 8-period moving average. Okay, so they found support there. Buyers bought it, but now you're doing this really tight stuff. There it goes again. Outside bar and up. Momentum gets back. So the momentum buyers come back into the market, right? And then you have two green days, not big green days. Up 0.25%, up 0.34%, but it's momentum back to the upside again. Can it break through the previous week's high? Inside week this week, so now you're still back in the Bollinger Band. So can you go inside week and up, attract momentum once again, because that's the inside bar and up is a momentum pattern. So can it attract the buyers back into this? So right now the 2 days like this, inside bar, start the week, boom, met with an outside bar. So momentum comes in, outside bar and up, momentum. Okay, so now can they continue to put momentum into this and then take out these pivots? That's that pivot there and that pivot there. Watch for that against outside bar and up. So you want to, if you're into bonds or you want to see, the direction of momentum, you do not want to see these lows get taken out, because once these lows get taken out, you're going to see some more. You're going to get a pullback once again because you ran out of buyers. You just got exhausted. Then it may pull back in again, and then you have to wait and see if more buyers step up, or does the trend change. Right now, though, full time from alignment to the upside. You're not expecting a big break in bonds. You're expecting to do what's doing now. That is, to basically hang out here, because there's no way. I think there's very little chance that you're going to take out the quarterly open, right? The quarterly open's way down here, way down there, right? So I think it's we're probably going to have a green quarter. The question is, where do you close? At the upper ends of this bigger broadening formation, this megaphone, or somewhere down here. Okay, so don't forget, this is what kicked it off, right? We've talked about it for months now. Outside, inside, pop up, and now it's still going up. So until these lows get taken out, it's still, you're still on a bullish uptrend. So in July, I wouldn't get aggressively short this thing until you start seeing weeks that break down. The week here has to break down first, and you want to see a month get taken out before it can pull back down again. Okay, let's talk about emerging markets, and they're starting to get weak again. So this week, we had a couple week bounce there. Actually, we had 3 higher highs on the weekly charts. I'll show that in a second. But it's starting to get weak again. So on EEM, let's talk about the monthly inside bar still, because May was really, really bad for emerging markets. Now we're back into an inside bar condition, right? So how do you take out this big bar? Because we're sitting close to the, maybe the bottom quarters, maybe the bottom quartile of EM, but still far from the lows. So 2 weeks left. Can EM break down, or do you see this choppy trading? So right now with EM, what we saw was this. This is what I was watching for on EM this week. Is we had this condition here, right? As I talked about, outside bar, and went up, right? So outside bar and up. I drew this little line here. Once the low gets taken out here, then right, what happened on this day here? Then it came back down. So on the daily chart, it looks like this. So once this level there, Monday's low gets taken out, that means it ran out of momentum. It taps it, and then on Friday it breaks down 1.1%. So ran out of momentum, and so the market's starting to pull back down again. So we had 3 consecutive highs. So look, higher bar here. Okay, that's a higher bar, a higher high. That creates a higher high, and this bar, even though it turned red, we had a higher high, but now it ran out of momentum, so it's coming back in again. If the low gets taken out here this coming week, that puts the month possibly in jeopardy. Then you might see this condition again. We have full time frame alignment to the downside for emerging markets, not a positive signal. So keep your eye out on EM. You do not want to see, if you're a bull, that low get taken out. If you're a bear, yeah, for sure, take that low out, and then you can get this back in play again. Because on the water time frame chart, look on the monthly, we're still going after these pivots down here. This again, outside, up, and down, inside bar, right? It's just resting right now. You could see this thing come back down here and take out this range. That's the bigger picture. On the 4-hour chart here for EM, this is what you saw, right? So this is the hard part trading something like this, and some of these ETFs is that they're very gappy. So here's the situation: inside bar up, okay, inside bar up, gaps up, right? So it's all gaps. Inside bar reversal. So that goes inside bar up, right? So there's your momentum play. Inside bar means when the buyers cannot take it any higher, it breaks it down. So inside bar down, that's an inside bar reversal. Then takes out that level I talked about before right there. That outside bar does it. Look, outside bar down, momentum, right? Cannot take out that high or that high. Sellers have control, and boom, momentum to the downside. Okay. So once you understand the outside bars and the psychology around the bars, trading becomes a lot easier. So now that doesn't talk about at all, what's actually happening, like why these things are happening, but from a price action perspective, it gets easier. So let's talk about UKOIL, because oil had a wild week with a lot of geopolitical risk out there, with the oil tankers getting bombed. Oil kind of, even though it had a wild week, it was a red week, but it was kind of tight. So month of let's talk about this here first. Outside, inside on the quarterly, back in the range. On the monthly, it goes very tight, right? So 0.58% for the month right now, so slightly green somehow. Okay, here it is on the weekly. We talked about momentum to the downside, right? Last week it's this week it finally stopped it. Outside bar down. Last week it turned to green. This week they actually broke above that high, so momentum actually it flattened out this week, right? Because here we talked about it already. It hit that Bollinger Band. So if it does the Bollinger Band walk, it has to keep going down. Otherwise, it pops up. It can get choppy, because now you have this time frame conflict. Quarterly there, monthly there, chop. Okay, now on the daily, got that inside bar to end the week. This is very tight trading, right? So it's still red week, but they battled back on Thursday and Friday. Oil had sunk here, but back up on Thursday, Friday. So very, very tight trading on UKOIL. So keep your eye on that. A lot of these oil names are getting really, really hurt. So if you take a look at something like, let's talk about XOP as an example. This is a really they're really beating out these oil names. Some of these oil names are hitting 52-week lows, all-time lows. So if anything, the equities, as you've been saying for some time now, oil equities are really, some of these names are really, really weak. You can put on some longer term trades to put these guys on, because some of them are trading right to the lows. So here's the 3-month chart on XOP. Inside bar down on the quarter, right? So that's aggressive. Okay, red month, red week, and look at XOP still trading. This is oil exploration, so oil exploration names. Outside bar and down. Unlike UKOIL did not pop above, so selling has continued. Look, they're going after that pivot low there now. Okay, so that's XOP for you. Daily ends inside. So you remember UKOIL ended the week green, right? It had 2 green days in a row. The best these oil names could do was have the inside day on Thursday, then they sold it on Friday. So that, they wiped out Thursday's gains and closed it below Thursday. Now going after that low there. Okay, and so that's how tight it is with the, well, not tight, but this is how bearish it is with XOP. So it's really looking weak for these oil names. Okay, let's talk about gold. We're going to start talking about gold again, because gold has been in the headlines a lot. Obviously, with geopolitical risk, gold becomes an asset that people want to accumulate. But again, gold is tight trading. Here's the condition that I'm talking about, is how to get out of that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 year range. Okay, so, and to be honest, GLD is probably not the best instrument to be looking at to really, if you really want to speculate on gold, this is not the best instrument, because it's very gappy GLD. So I prefer to look at something like just for the analysis. You might want to use another product to actually trade. But if you trade Forex, and you can use something like an XAU USD, which is basically kind of like spot gold. This is a CFD I'm looking at here, but you can look at spot gold and see how that's trading. So on XAU USD, which is basically gold spot, look at that. So on the 12-month chart, what do we have here, right? So it's very tight. Inside year still. Inside of that year. Inside of that year. So all this stuff here is still sitting inside of this bigger year, 2016. How do you get out of 2016? And the reality is that you don't have to buy the breakout, right? So people are like, you got to get in before the break. You know what? You don't have to get in before the break, because if it breaks out, you're going to have plenty of time to get back in on a pullback, because everyone's going to buy the breakout is going to get stopped out. So don't chase it unless you get really, really good trade location where it pulls back and you get a really good fill. Don't chase it in the highs, because I'll show you what happens in a few seconds here. So 12-month, look at that. So 12-month bar inside, all right? On the monthly, yes, it is a green month. On the weekly, it's tight stuff. Look how tight that is on the weekly. Okay, so this weekly here's the issue with the weekly chart. So that high here, higher than that high, so we can draw that like that. And these lows higher than those lows there, or lower than those lows, excuse me. So trading now in this tight little megaphone pattern, and now you want to see how it resolves. Can it keep going to the upside or not? See these guys here, they bought the breakout. So zoom in on the daily chart here. So on the daily chart, okay. So let's zoom in about here. So here's the previous high right there, right? If you bought this breakout right there, you're gonna get stopped out, right? It's people who buy breakouts, this is the challenge. They need to look for volume and all these kinds of things. You're gonna get stopped out because it pops back against you. Most breakouts fail. That's just the reality of breakout trading. Most breakouts fail. So here, this is a good signal way back here if you're into trading gold. Outside bar and up. Look, this is the daily chart. Outside bar and up. This is the May the 30th. Goes here. 31st, pow, up. Then this is June. So bam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive bars we have where it's you do not have the lows taken out. Finally, the lows get taken out there. Okay, breaks below. They create a little hammer here, pops back up again, and then runs out of steam. They try to buy the breakout, which fails. Okay, so look at that broader formation, and then on the 4-hour chart, let's take a look and see what we see there. We see the similar thing. So here's a really good example of momentum, understanding how that works, right? So we talked about that previous level here, right there. I'll just draw it in, because you'll just see what that looks like when people are chasing, when they trade momentum. Okay, so there's your level. So people are looking at that level and saying, okay, if it breaks above there, I'm getting long. Okay, I'm getting along. Look what happens here. They tried it back here in June, at the beginning of June, on June the 7th. Look, outside bar up. There's your momentum signal, right? Outside bar up. They tap it. People are buying this tick here. It runs out of momentum. Goes inside bar, right? And it's not what you want to see. If you're trading momentum and this happens, you got to get out. Because you don't get out, look, stops out that low, and boom. Anyone who got involved all the way down here, they all get stopped out, right? So that's momentum. Now they try it again here, right? So here we go. Outside bar time, momentum time, outside bar up, 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 outside bar again, up, right there, inside bar, exact same sequence, right? There's a breakout right here, right? Previous high, pops it up. Outside bar, this is not what you want to see once again. Well, it depends. It has to keep going though. It depends on your time frame. If you're just buying and you're holding, you have a really big stop, then you're sure. But if you're trying to time things, this is not going to work for you, because look, you're buying up here, outside bar up. There's your inside bar. Once this inside bar fails, it's come back into the range, right? So there, right there. Once that low gets taken out, boom, they're going back after these guys again. So the good thing for XAU though is that it's still trading above the quarterly open and monthly open. It's gonna be very hard to change that thing, turn that thing red. But definitely wait for that pullback if you're gonna try to set up a position to accumulate. Wait for that deeper pullback, or wait for the big breakout to actually work, for it to break outside of this formation. You want to see it clear above there, and then look for the pullback into it, versus just chasing into highs. Because chasing into highs, it just has to keep going. If it pulls back again, get stopped out. Okay, let's talk about digital gold, because here's a funny thing with gold, right? So I'm not a gold hater, but I'm just not a gold bug either. Gold, it's up 4.6% for the year. All right, so people, I don't know why it's making so many headlines. It's up 4.6% for the year. Okay, now you know what I'm talking about. Digital gold. I'm talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up 130% for the year. Okay, so to put those things, I know we're talking two different asset classes. I understand that. But a 4% move, 5% move versus a 130% move, we're talking about different markets, I understand. But I'd be a lot more excited as a trader about one market than the other market. Just saying. Like, why would I chase 5% gains when I can go after 130% gains? It's again, it's a head scratcher. Maybe you can do both, but I know where I want to put my money. Another funny chart just before I get into Bitcoin is Litecoin. We haven't talked about this one a lot, but Litecoin has been the leader. A lot of momentum in this name, but for the year, up 350%. And this is actually a very tradable product because it's actually quite liquid as well on many exchanges. But again, I don't want to diverge too far. So let's get back into our Bitcoin analysis. Inside a year right now for Bitcoin, believe it or not, it is. Because 2018, even if we had that big sell-off, was still an inside year. I'm not going to go that far back, but just saying. So here's the trade, right? We did talked about last week and previous weeks. Back up again, took out that pivot high, took some off, and got not flat, but I took off a lot of it. Got long again this week on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, what can we say right now? Inside month. Can it break outside of last month? Who knows? We still got 2 weeks left, but right now you're at the upper end of this of this range. It's momentum to the upside. Momentum, boom, to the upside. You do not want to see the lows taken out if you're a bull. Weekly chart. All right, so we're doing the Bollinger Band walk for a while, and I said, watch out when that low gets taken out. You might want to watch out. And sure enough, when that low got taken out, it pulled back in and found some support finally. I got long again on Bitcoin this week. So on the Bitcoin chart, it basically bottomed right at the bottom of the beginning of the week. Right, this is why time frame alignment is so important. The question was, how does it navigate the fact that it's currently trading below the monthly open, because it opened up high on the month. So here's the monthly open right there on the orange line. So I got involved here. A 2-day chart, outside, inside, inside. That's some good pullback action, right? So that's some nice pullback. It's not chasing highs. We're pulling back, stopping people out here, right? So that low there is 74.36.4, 74.55. So not quite lower. Interesting. Low 74.55, low 74.36. So they could not take out these guys' lows. So that's that's the buyers stepped in and they could not take out that low. So quite aggressive buying still. Outside bar down, outside bar inside, inside, inside. There's your buy right here. Longer time frame chart. I wasn't trying to time this. It was going to be a longer time frame chart. There we go. Bought that, and now it's up. And I just as I posted in the chat room that I frequent, target first was going to be this pivot high there. Outside bar, right? Terrible place if you're to put your stops. Took some off there now, and now going after that high there, 91.09. Let's see what it can do on Bitcoin. Quick analysis of the overall crypto market, really fast. All the charts look the same, which is what's nice about trading cryptos. Most of the charts look the same. Month, green inside month, week, green inside up week, and on the 2-day chart looks very similar. Outside down, 2 inside bars in a row, consolidation, pow, turns the month green when it breaks above there. So wow, what can it do next? Can it take out that pivot high right here, and then after that pivot high there, just like the Bitcoin chart. Okay, now let's quickly go through. Actually, before I do that, I did pass something that I did want to show. So I'm not that impressed with gold as I talked about before, but the gold miners are an interesting play. The gold miners are actually quite interesting. So if you take a look at the gold miners, so I'll just pull up GDX. You can look at GDXJ if you want, or use something like a nugget for more leverage and UGT. But here is this is what I would get more bullish on is the gold miners, because they've been beaten up so badly that you have some of these. Especially juniors. If you do some research, you're going to be able to find some juniors that have a lot of potential if gold breaks out. Because on a bigger time frame, the quarterly chart, GDX looks very, very bullish here. Because here, outside, inside, down, okay, inside bar reversal right there. So once you have that inside bar reversal on the quarterly, they come back up. Okay, so boom. Now they took out that pivot. Now they're going after that pivot. So I think the bigger opportunity to play gold, get back into gold miners. Because right now, trading very, very bullish on the higher time frame charts. So gold miners once again looking pretty good. Although running the exact same kind of pattern we showed with XAUUSD, you got the guys who are trying to buy breakouts and they're not working yet. All right, so make sure they break out before that, or break out and then buy the pullback, or buy it on a deeper pullback and look for a breakout. So let's talk about some sectors and we'll wrap things up. Now, healthcare. We talked about it last week, is I think something worth watching. On the healthcare chart, we have this here, right? So let's take a look on quick. Yeah, so here we go. Healthcare setting up for something. 2 weeks left. Does it happen before June, or do they wait for the quarter of end? Because now you have outside, inside quarter. Very tough, tight stuff. This quarter, you're closing at the top end of the range. The only reason that's important is because that makes it easier for it to break out to the upside next quarter. If you had an inside bar down here, then obviously it's easier to break out to the downside. But here, with only 2 weeks left, this sets up nicely for July for it to potentially take out this range and go after these back to all-time highs again. So healthcare looking strong. So look for those healthcare names. Outside and down, inside bar, took out that pivot high. There you go. Now come back after this stuff. The issue here is that you're below the quarterly open right now, right? So you're trading against that big time frame. So look at this. So there's your daily. Well, you can look at the weekly. Weekly is outside and up, just like we had with the SPYs and the Qs. There's your quarterly open. So you're kind of stuck in between this range right now. And can you expect it to break above the quarterly open? Probably not. Maybe, who knows? We have 2 weeks left. Or does it just chop around here now until the new quarter? Okay. So, some names we talked about in the past. Look at Merck. Look at something like Merck. Merck here. Look at this. Outside, inside, and up. It took out April's highs. So Merck is looking strong, right? Going right into those highs. Right? So definitely multi-year highs for Merck. And still climbing higher. Although the weekly chart looks weaker here because it hit that quarterly open right there. Is that resistance? Yes, that's resistance. Okay, so there's your quarterly open. Bam, hit it. And then has pulled back in now. Another name that I got long this week. Bax. Another healthcare name. Talked about last week. Outside and down. Back up now. Issue again, you're battling the quarterly open, right? You have time for misalignment there. Okay, so there's a Bax. Slowly making its way back up. Outside, inside, pops up, but red bar on Friday, so not that. Not a great looking chart right now because it's very tight stuff. And then you have on the 2-day chart inside up, which failed. Well, come back because it came back in the range. Take out that low, it can come back in again. So that Bax trade may not be a great one. We'll see what happens there. Nothing, but a lot of healthcare names look good. Look at Pfizer. So if it's going to work, if the healthcare is going to work, then look at names like look at some of the bigger guys like Pfizer. Look, outside bar down, inside popping back up again. So back up to the upside. Pfizer looking has potential if it's going to participate in that. If healthcare works, Pfizer's going to be one of them. Very strong sector that has been rocking. Staples. Okay, so people are chasing these staple stocks as they're looking for dividends. We're in this low interest rate environment, so people are looking for dividends. And so these consumer staples names are are flying hot. So look at that. We're getting close to, yeah, we hit those all-time highs again, right? We're back to all-time highs for staples. Is that right? Yep. All-time highs for staples. This past week, very tight stuff again, but it was up a 0.25%, and just, basically stayed above the weekly open. Okay, so names that, just open up XLP and you can see all the names inside that particular ETF. But you have names like, Procter & Gamble. Man, Procter's on a roll. Look at Procter. If you take a step back at Procter, you look on Procter on the monthly chart, we have an outside bar. Okay, so outside bar on Procter, weekly chart, outside bar and up, so momentum there on the weekly chart. If you zoom out here, look at the yearly chart, outside bar and up, so they're buying it right aggressively, and that's all-time highs on PEG. Okay, so outside bar and up on the yearly, they're buying it all year, it looks like. So unless it comes back into here again, they're going to be buying it all year long. Okay, so Procter very, very strong. Stuff like Walmart, right? So just open up the XLP ETF and see what's inside of it, and you'll see all these names. Walmart also very, very strong. On the monthly chart, inside bar and up, right? Look, they're going after all-time highs right there. All those all-time highs? Yep, they're going after those all-time highs. And look at the 3-month chart here. Also inside bar and up, right? So inside bar and up on the quarterly, and they're going after that all-time high there. Okay, a few more. Utilities. Once again, the dividends. People want their dividends. Outside and up on the XLU, going back to those all-time highs. They're gunning for it. They're trying to. It did it late last week, and they're trying to reclaim it again. Look at the daily on XLU. Outside bar here last Friday, goes outside bar and down. Monday, Tuesday, people decide they want dividends again, so they buy it back. Wednesday, right, momentum runs out right there. It finds support here. There's your 20 period. There's your 8 period. They found the support they want. There's buyers waiting there, and then they break above that bar, and they come back for that pivot high there, that outside bar high. And you have the usual names. Just open up XLU, you'll find all the relevant names. But here again, look at the names like Nextera, NEE. Outside bar and up on the month, it's momentum. Look on the week, outside bar and inside, setting up for momentum play to the upside again. So a lot of momentum in these names. But again, momentum has to keep going. If it pulls back in, you expect a bigger pullback. Not saying it's going to correct, but there's your buying opportunity if you're really want to get into these names. Solar working very well. So solar here, CSIQ, outside and up, momentum on the monthly chart, green week. You can see they're gunning it up. Outside up, outside bar here. This go outside and up again on Monday. So momentum in these solar names. JKS, same thing. Look at that chart. Outside bar up, right? They're going momentum. People are chasing these things now. They're going back up. So some of the names can be on your intraday watch list. Just a couple more names, maybe on the short side now. Let's talk about companies that don't look right. Twitter. Okay, so Twitter, unfortunately, look at Twitter here. So right now you still have the green quarter, right? So that's what's working for it. But as this quarter comes to an end, you do not want to see this inside bar reversal happen on Twitter in July. That low there, you do not want to see that get taken out. But on the lower time frame chart, not lower, but on monthly charts, lower than the quarterly, it had gone inside bar and down. So you're inside quarter and down now. This quarter is acting as, will act as natural support, because it's going to be hard to change this quarter red with only 2 weeks left, right? It's going to, but next quarter though, watch out. They're going to try to, that's the opportunity for it to attack. So here on the weekly, outside bar and up, coming back down again. So Twitter getting weak, right? So coming back down again. Who knows? They're going to try to push it down. Netflix is another one. These big names like Netflix, you expect it to be stronger in this environment, but it's quite weak. Closed the week near the lows. So now look at Netflix. Outside bar, they try to go outside bar and up. Last month, right in May, we had that big selling, came back in the range, and it came back through the other side. And now it's outside month and down because it took out the monthly lows, right? It's back below the monthly lows again. So now you're trading full time from alignment to the downside with Netflix. So not a situation you want to see from one of the FANG names. But here we go on the weekly, outside and down now. Outside and up. Do not want to see that low get taken out there. But it's very tight stuff because you look at the weekly chart. You can see it's consolidating here. You can see how tight these Bollinger Bands are. It's getting very, very tight. So the nice thing with Netflix is that there's enough range that if you want to trade it more intraday, but right now your bias is definitely to the downside unless you can find something push back up because you have full time frame alignment to the downside. All right, well, that's a wrap for this week's weekly market outlook. I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, you know where to reach me. And in the if there are any names you'd like me to add to the analysis, feel free to let me know. And again, if you want to share this with other traders and help us grow the community, it'd be always much appreciated. So have yourself a great trading week. Happy trading.